Hi everybody. Today I have a Karthus game versus Riven. Against a guy who I known for a while. Basically, he's been one of those players that go on and off, and they play one role, they're really good at it, and then they just stop being good altogether. And basically, I decided, okay, you know what, once and for all, be one. So he picks Riven, I pick Karthus. In a matchup, if Riven had right set up masteries and runes, and everything else, this Riven definitely crushed me and thus shut me push tower win game at like level 3 or something like that. But the kicker is I kind of built strong knowing that it was Riven, but we played and I was like, whatever, I want the mana sustain, which is really risky because I kind of put in my head that I knew I was going to poke the crap out of this Riven, and I was not going to let the Riven get close to me, so that's the reason why I didn't start the Claw 5, although I had recommendations for it. And the reason I started off Fairy Charm is because I wanted to get Tear of the Gods because I knew we spamming Q like crazy. Because that's what cards is doing. Tear is a very good item for it. Because when you die, your manager is not going to really plus your. Yeah. I just feel like the Tear Catalyst is a really good combination. It's not because of damage, it's because of that stain that it gives out. So, anyways, this is how it kind of starts off. First thing he does is the face, first engage, push. Yeah, I'm not scared. I have pots. He has rejuvenation bead and pots himself, so he is intended to fight me, countering me. But I mean, it's very weird how it's turned out, because this is pretty much how a Jace would probably play. Is just build the same items and just poke the enemy to death. The only difference is I'm having AP instead of AD. Which means I would have probably won the game a little faster. But regardless, I keep spamming Q like crazy, as I mentioned earlier. And I don't know why. But it's just that, I guess I was trying to zone him out, like, hey, you can't take on this front line. Either you take Q, or you didn't get the 9 farm. So I pretty much zoned him out completely. That was just a random one. So after zoning him out, my mana is half, which is really nice. And I decided to pop the first mana pot, which I have 2 of, I think. So here's this weirdest problem. He engages in on a very weird position in the middle of my minions, and I had the exhaust, and I hit level 2. Basically, he engages underneath my minions and my AoE, and I have exhaust. He burned everything on me, hoping to get that engage, and it was just off. My mistake was I didn't put a wall at level 3, but I'm not too worried about it right now, despite having exhaust. That was a really bad play on my part, but still. Next thing, I built Tear of the Goddess because I thought I had pretty lane dominance, but I just can't think of why would he do that. I mean, Bane's and I farm, he dove me into creeps, and a cannon creep on us. So that just makes it 10 times worse. And he was already poked down too, so if you're poked down, the thing you want to do is to gauge 1v1 with the enemy champion. They might be half mana. If they have enough mana to do enough damage to you, with at least a summoner spell or two, chances are you're not going to win, especially to get a gank. If you're going to put in factor ganks in, chances are we still would have won that because, counter ganks and so forth. So, more of the solo queue mechanics, because like, oh, you know, if it were a game, it's like, you can't on that aspect. If you can't hold your own, chances are you're not going to get any help, because help comes to those who can help themselves. And that, trust me, it was hard to do for me too to get used to. But regardless, the thing I've been trying to do more of is actually use Q for farm and poke at the same time. But there's a kicker. He's already pushed the tower. Yes, he would have gotten ganked, but if if anyone were to gank me right now, it would just be bad, and it would either cost an objective somewhere, like bot lane particularly, or mid lane. So therefore, the jungler will be towards that. And I know the video might be streaming in now, but so still, yeah. Okay, so pretty much you kind of know why I've been doing Q spam, which is really Karthus' main thing. It's just to poke down early game, because there's not that much MR, especially on the 80 carry, because they usually buy the scaling and not the direct. So that's your only chance, and the support Karthus can work, but you have to know when to play the support Karthus. not recommended on a lot of games, especially if the enemy team has CC. You don't want to pick Karthus into that unless you know for a fact that you're going to end up taking the farm and everything else. No, don't do it. Here we go back into laning phase, I like to say. I keep poking him down with the combination. Already he's back at his own tower, very low health. Well, he's at 1/3, and I have like almost 0 mana. This is where I kind of make mistakes, which is the big one. Is, as you know, I keep spamming Q, but I'm not looking at my mana, and I almost made a very bad turret dive. And that turret dive did cost me, well, almost cost me. But I knew he could easily face check, and I knew I could probably one more time before that happened. At the same time, I had no mana. So anyways, here comes juke number 1. He goes in thinking I was going to try to go that way, which he would have gotten the kill, but I did. So I went all the way around. Like, that way he couldn't really flash because his flash is down still, and even if he had flash, I could get away with my wall. But still, I didn't really call him bush, but that already gave it the pursuit because the minions were already in the tower. Or at least pretty close, so the only chance to really farm. Let's see, what else? I do have my ult, so that's going to be I wouldn't say a big factor. It's just when I used it was actually using Karthus experience. I mean, if you use before the fight, that's usually the best chance, especially if you're going 1v1 or 1v5 and you use your passive. Your passive is not meant to just use your ult with. Your passive is actually meant to, spam your Q, which is the big one. Spam Q and wall and then proceed. Usually that's the reason why I want ult for the fight. A lot of people use ult after the fight, after they're dead, and as the way you can ult to finish them off, make it at least a tie. But honestly, I just don't see the benefit of that. I mean, it's a great tool for people who are new to the game. Like, oh, you died. Like, quick, press your R because the fact that it does super damage. If you want to be, I'll be straight up with you on this one. Q spam does so much more damage comparing to the ult. I mean, and best part is it's AoE and it's a great farming tool. I don't know why. Back when I was rookie, I thought maxing E was a good thing. But, hey. So this is the part where I ult too early. I think I can get the engage, but he was already bound tower. So that was kind of a waste of an ult on my part. But still, I mean, it's not that effective. It still brings him down to half. It's already poking him down. Now I got the wall on, and now I exhaust it, and this is the part. Yeah. This is the part where I wish I had a little more mana, but I died at that point. I'm like, crap. Honestly, the ult was the main reason why he had low HP to begin with, but at the same time, there's not really much I could have done. It's just like nothing really. So I buy some mana pots this time, and although it's not a good idea to buy mana pots mid-game or later game, but I felt like it was necessary this time. After all, I mean, there's no globals or anything else, so fine. This is, if I was pushing a tower, I would be helping the teammates. So keep that soul Q in mind, mechanic in mind, especially if I have a jungler. In other words, he would have died all 3 times that I engaged on him if I had jungler, and vice versa. But the problem is, junglers can't gank at the level 1 level 2. Only like a very few junglers can, and now they can't even do it. Otherwise, they'll lose a buff out of it. I mean, they would have to actually get the first blood in order to make it worth for them to get it. Otherwise, it's going to put the jungler behind, the team behind, thus, you might have a fed Riven, but we might have like a fed, 3 members of a team that can shut easily and take towers a lot quickly. So in other words, when it comes to jungling, you have to make sure the jungle can go to other lanes besides your own. The only thing you want to do is make the enemy jungler goes for you instead of the other lanes. That's a very effective way to actually use. That's why the reason why I like having mids, because the enemy jungler will pretty much want to gank mid as much as possible, so that way we know where he'll be trying to gank my lane, thus we engagements on me, which I would get away from. Now sometimes it doesn't always work clearly, but still worth a shot. So you always want to have that escape route thing ready to go. I mean, especially if it's like viegar. I have viegar and stuff in the battlefield. Meanwhile, jungler can do whatever he needs to do while the enemy jungler is busy in my lane. Killing the enemy jungler, especially early levels, that's even more great because I get the double buff. But more or less, he gets like the mid and jungler factor in this game a lot because of the fact that I'm already pushed so far without wards. If it was a real game, I would be wards. whenever I get a chance, but there's just, yeah, that double kill that kill right there. I didn't have exhaust. That's the reason why I lost that fight, because exhaust does play a factor when it comes to this. And honestly, for Karthus, is exhaust, because as you notice, I rarely take damage from his combo. Like, not just one part, the whole thing. Because half his combo is basically the Q spam, and the other half is auto attacks come after it. And basically, when I exhaust those parts, those get nerfed hard. But the problem is I didn't have exhaust up, so I shouldn't be engaging without exhaust. But whatever. At this point, I decided to buy armor because I have there's people in this call which I didn't want to actually rely on being muted or not, because there's just some things I didn't want in the video, like random people yelling at other random people. So I decided just to record over it, which, by the way, I'll thank Scruff for recommending that idea. But moving on, what else? Mana probably is a big issue. This is a part where if I had a jungler, he would be dead for sure. Like, seriously dead for sure, because you notice, he was pushing towards me, and he was kind of fighting an uphill battle at that point, and if I had a jungler, he would have been dead, guaranteed, and I wouldn't have to even waste ult for it. Now, on his perspective, even though his jungler would come in and gank, I would still have gotten away since my flash was ult, but, I mean, unless he managed to flash Riven stun, and maybe, but still, I would at least made it to where I would have at least a 1-for-1 instead of a 1-for-0. So that would be the worst case scenario. But still, I still destroyed turret, which is kind of the point. I wanted to finish this game by finishing turrets. Now, Karthus being just a lane pusher, not the tower taker. Yeah, I somehow did that. Now, bear in mind, my tower has not got hit yet by a single minion. That's how far a push I've been doing. It's not even fair. Now, I actually had tier almost stacked up 100%. Like, I was literally like 50 short of having full stacked. Which is huge on the fact of how short the game was and how many Qs I've been spamming. I just want to know how much Q spam I actually did damage. But regardless, I have 3 very powerful items. If things go good, I can finish Raw Age and get, whatever AP items I want. If things don't quite go my way, I can finish Raw Age and get Zonia's afterwards, which, whatever. But, as you notice the damage output between the two of us, I can actually tank it thanks to having the armor. That was suggested getting armor guard instead of tier, but I felt that the fact that I would have more mana to actually poke with was a better choice. Meanwhile, here comes again, and as you notice, I placed the wall kind of behind it to where even if he had a jungler, I would be able to get it in there. But more importantly, he has a knock thing that does, makes him go back a little bit, so thus he probably doesn't even know that he got the resistances. This is the part where I wish I had flashed, but meh. Whatever. This is another big point about the game. Flashing for a kill might be a good thing, but if you don't get like something out of that kill, like a tower or a dragon or something else out of it, like another lane killed or whatever, then you're really not using it most effectively. I'm not saying it isn't effective, it's just, okay, I'll throw a scenario. Okay, so basically you flash, and now I'm not going to use the Thresh example because Thresh flash is different. I mean, initiation, a surprise initiation is a really good one if played right. But regardless, let's just say I flash, let's say I had flash, and I've queued, or even E for the kill. Yeah, I would have gotten the kill, but turret kicks me out and kills me instead. Now, I get executed. The problem with that is, flash would be on cooldown for so long, it wouldn't really make it a really worthwhile. I mean, 300 gold, yes, and it prevents him against yes, but if you don't get something out of it, at least more farm, then it's not really worth it. I mean, the flash is meant to make plays with, not just to take out things that you're not technically supposed to. Besides, if it were the case of jungling, he would have came gank, and he would have probably turned that around. But honestly, if you're looking at solo queue, they're gonna be more ranting about how Riven's losing to Karthus bad, as my friends was saying. And here comes the ult again. I got the kill that time. Man, better because of the fact that I have the sustain item for it, so I decided to take golems. And this is another thing that people kind of make the mistake of, is that they don't take the jungles. If it's getting like that bad, you're gonna have to take jungles stuff, and jungler's gonna have to gank more, so put pressure in other areas. But if he can't do that, let's just say this: if it's like 3 of your lanes, like all 3 lanes or 2 lanes, and your jungler gets shut down hard, then just surrender at that point, because it's not doing that now. There is a significant difference between surrendering regarding getting outplayed, or surrendering as in regards of having bad teammates, which is usually the case of if you play badly, your teammates are gonna react to it, and basically, when it happens, you're going to lose because of the fact that you could not have enough confidence in yourself to actually carry yourself at least out of your lane. You're not expected to win the team fights. There's no way. I tried it. It doesn't work. But you can at least try carry your own lane to where you can help other lanes. That's how the game is played in one. It's kind of laggy, so I'm going to cut it out again. Sorry. Now, as you kind of notice, I took out the turret, or at least got it to where minions can take it out. Which is kind of a big deal, because that's the whole point of the game. It's not about, how to then finish off turrets, although a lot of games can happen that way. But it's just that getting turrets is more priority. It gets more gold for the team for everybody. So a person that might just be a few goals short of having a key item that wins the game is based off that type of stuff. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Now, there's a difference between, managed comeback. Baron is the key factor coming back into games. At this point, if it was a 5v5, normal summon rift thing, they would actually be trying to pressure other lanes, and if they can pressure Dragon or other lanes, it'll be down to 2 choices. Either A, ward the map as much as possible and see if we are going to try Baron because we're overconfident, or B, simply make one attempt, aim for the most fed, and with the most CC, and then hopefully people can rely on mechanics enough to where somehow they win the fight. This is that scenario for him right now. For me, on the other hand, it's quite the opposite. What I have to do is play either A, passively, in order to make sure that I don't make any mistakes. B, I can just dive in on him, my summoners and everything's up to kill one more, push for that inhib. C, well, C and D are kind of the same, but basically C, get the rest of the teammates in that same position, or D, Baron. Baron's way too risky at this part of the game, and sometimes lag just, but regardless, just keep spamming it to where you get stacks, and I'm at the cut at this point. It's like 2 a.m. here. Anyways, good night, and thank you. To recall back in the bush, he can't really fight me whatsoever, and which is a little sad on his part, because this is a point of the game where there's nothing much he can really do on his own. So, yeah. Okay, now, he's 2 turrets down. By the way, there's another 1v1 in bot lane. We figured, why not? I gave this guy a huge goalie because of 2 towers, but we kind of factored in, it wasn't really about towers, it's about the skill of 1v1ing. And that's kind of the point, is towers. Basically Scruff was pointing out that I built 2 gods, I shouldn't have done that, I should have went straight to arm, but if you see how much spamming I've been doing, I would actually kind of disagree. But, hey, I can see why. I mean, I wouldn't have died as much, and I would have had Zonias than I thought. But at the same time, I was like, oh, I need to make for the spam and Q, and, E, and, whatever knickknacks I need. And that was more of the goal. It was actually more of the goal just to poke him down so hard, so many times. Even if I missed a lot, I could still continue to fire and give him that suppression of getting him poked down, because I was so far ahead that it didn't matter. I could still tank him, believe it or not. As long as I have exhaust up, there's literally. So, regardless, still having some lags. However, I'm hoping to get this one part in, and that is the juke of how to. Right, Norton says Skype's a high use thing, which I would actually believe, even though, whatever. This is the point of the game where where this this kid's gonna get some help from the other dude bot because they look at the map, how far push top is and how ahead I am. Oh wait, no, I think it skipped. Sorry. Later though. Yep, it comes up later. That's my bad. Basically, I kind of set up a duel. So I'm gonna try this. Oh wow, it kind of does. Sweet. Nope, not really. We're recalling back because at this point I can just recall back, buy item, come back, and he can't really do much about it. I mean, he has a complete item technically if you count Hex Drinker as a complete item. And I was thinking, okay, what do I need to buy next? So I figured, okay, if I get 1,000 gold, I can get the the void staff. If I get like 1,100, then I can get, you know, complete it because it's already almost maxed. I mean, it's like only like 50 away, really well, considering it's about 21 minutes into this game, which is, I would probably say it's more like the pro level, but considering how much I've been spamming though, I don't know if that's the appropriate way to approach it. I mean, I keep spamming it like crazy, and normally in a real game, as in having junk and everything else, I wouldn't be doing it so much because it would be ganking me. So, I think somewhere roughly about 600 or so will be a really good number to be at. I don't know how I got 700 though at 20 minutes, but whatever. It works. I mean, after all, spamming late waste every 5 seconds is pretty cool. I think this is the part where I mentioned I'm gonna get ganked now. But I'm actually so fed I can actually 1v2. But problem is, it's a CC issue and mana issue. Yeah, there is a mana issue in this case. Okay, so at this point I'm fighting Scruffhead, and I'm actually willing to fight, but he does have passive, so that's a bad thing. So he gets to fly out. Actually, he dodges the wall, which is really nice. But however, now my mana is going down, and walls on cooldown, and I can't lay waste. Otherwise, I will literally die. And this is Tyler's moment, taking advantage of that. If the thing actually stopped recording. Okay. So this is the part where the jukes come. Okay, so this is the part where the jukes come in. Unfortunately, it lagged a little bit, but however, basically, it's taking 90-degree turns here. This is the part where the juke comes in, and I kind of go in the bush, and like a U-turn thing, while he was going diagonally. This is a predictable path regarding diagonal. So I try to do it again, down here at red buff, and it works again. So I figure go in this bush and do the same thing. I would explain geometry about the whole entire which angle's going where, but you know whatever. At this time I have barely enough mana just to castle wall. Now at this point I should have gone to the river instead of going to tower, but I figured tower would be. One thing I stopped doing, which saved my life, literally, was doing diagonally. However, I almost got a double kill all of that. I mean, I would have gotten Riven for sure, but I at least got that. I was close. I mean, come on, I chased. It was all over top lane, all the way to second tier mid almost. So, still, it was really well. Just noticed I had exhaust the whole time. Wow, if I would have thought that I should put exhaust, probably would have gotten away. That and tier 2 boots, those two things would have definitely won me that. Wow, I forgot all about exhaust. Don't forget, exhaust can be used offensively and defensively, and I only been using it offensively. So I realized, I saw that, I was like, Yeah, crap, I could actually live. Oh well. That's why conserving the mana isn't. Is that what you want you? Well, actually, living through juke. Sorry. However, I knew with the exhaust at this point, I was like, okay, I might not have lived that, but I guarantee at least get a kill out of that in return. Besides, he had to take so many tower shots to do it, so it's obviously his recklessness is a little bit more in hand. If he was, if I was in his shoes trying to come back, I would have already surrendered and called it. But, however, if he wanted to play like a real game, as like a real right game, the best thing for him to do is simply just backdoor. In other words, he could be farming towers at this point. But however, with me being super power, I'm not gonna let that happen. And as you know, he's running away yet again. Not only that, he's running, but using his combo. So that gives me free farm. Which is kind of sad, because, you know, hey, I try and I'm getting these lag spikes. Crazy. It's not the lag spikes on the game, god no. It's just whenever I record and, you know, it just goes that way, which is really sad. And I don't think my tower took any damage. I wish I could have gotten saw a screenshot of that, but oh well. It's not that uber important. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what's gonna happen here. I'm going to pretty much push to inhib, and that's gonna be technically game, because at that point he can't fight super minions under deck with me present. I mean, even Nex could probably do that. I mean, the guys bot lane that we're dueling, they're not that. I'm the most fed guy on the whole team, on both sides. I'm more fed than them to probably put together. But, however, I do have an advantage of, you know, being AD and I'm AP. But, yeah. I'm Karthus though. And as you notice, now I'm taking advantage of the exhaust. And he almost, I think I might be able to get it off in about 30 seconds. Man, I really need Sony Vegas. Please donate for Sony Vegas, please. However, looking at this match now, kind of laggy. I mean, hang on. I am just released from what I can see. Probably not going to see any of the lag, but I clearly can see it. I'm just firing minions under tower. You guys try the recall. What I'm going to do is probably just, I think I'm going to Q and then wall ult. And the wall connect lowers magic resist, and Karthus ult is a high base. Yep, there goes Mercury, and that gave me an ace because obviously Aatrox's slow, no passive. And you know, we're all laughing about, oh, double kill, ace. I'm like, nice. And of course, tower, and that would be in him, and that would be. I hope you guys learn this and learn that first blood doesn't mean everything regarding like the first is not first blood. I mean, it's a high objective, but it's not the main objective. The main objective is to make sure that you don't give, and to make sure that your tower does not go down too quickly, or to make sure that you don't get ganked to give that first blood. That is the first goal of any match. Yeah, I'm probably gonna break the video down on certain parts and more details as soon as this lag stops and, you know, whatever. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate all the support. And have a wonderful day. And don't forget the base race. See you next time.